Hello and welcome to day 12 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm releasing a new Cricut craft every day for the whole of October. As you may have guessed, today it's time for some Halloween hair bows. So I've got 3 designs for you, and they're all free. So check out the link in the description of this video to get the cutting files. The first one is the little ghosties that you can see in my hair. And then I've also got this bat design with bat wings on the edge. And then the third one is this pumpkin patch. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to cut faux leather with your Cricut machine and some top tips for getting it to cut nice and smoothly. We'll then move on to assembling the bows. So let's jump straight in and get started. Here's the pumpkin hair bow, which I've loaded into Design Space, and it should load in at the correct size. So mine's measuring about 5.8 inches in width, but you can change it about if you want to make it bigger or smaller. Now, when you're cutting faux leather, there are a few things to bear in mind when you go through the cut process. So if I click Make It, it will sort all my mats into the different colours. Firstly, faux leather will cut best pretty side down, which means we need to mirror all of the parts of the design so that when we take it off the mat and turn it over, it will be the right way round. So for all of your mats, go down and press this little mirror button. And I will show you in a minute how to best place the faux leather on your cutting mat to make sure it cuts as well as it possibly can. So I've got these designs, and because these are hair bows, they are quite small, and I find it easiest to leave the mat size, the material size at 12 by 12 inches, and then move the designs around a bit so that you've got a nice inch space on all of them before the design starts. This is so that when we put the faux leather on the mat, we've got more space around where it needs to go to tape it down to make sure it doesn't move on the mat. So I tend to put mine down so that I'm using this square where the 1 inch lines are horizontally and vertically. So that's where I'm going to line up my faux leather. So I need to put my design in that space. And I'm going to do that for all of them. And this really does make it so much easier to cut, just giving it a little bit of extra space. So let's do that for all of the colours. There we go. Alright, so now this is ready for me to press continue. And for the base material, you can go into browse all materials, and if you type in faux, and then it will say faux leather paper thin. Now I'm using a whole range of faux leathers to cut this bow, and some of them aren't that thin, but I have found that choosing this paper thin faux leather option is the best, and it has always cut through on all of the tests that I've run. So choose that one and click done. So it tells you here, make sure your mirror is turned on and faux leather material is face down. So we've already done that mirroring, and we are going to put our faux leather with the pretty side down on the mat. So I'm going to keep my pressure at default and then go through and cut each of these pieces. So I'll show you how to best put your faux leather on the mat now. I'm going to use a green standard grip mat to cut out my faux leather. A strong grip mat, so one of the purple ones would be better, but I don't have one of those. So I'm using this one. I think it should be okay because it's a fairly new mat, so it is still really sticky. With faux leather, as we mirrored it earlier in Design Space, it means you need to put the pretty side down, sticking to your mat. Now if you do this with the glitter faux leather, it means that some of the glitter will get stuck to your mat, and it will make it all go non-sticky where it ends up with the glitter stuck to it. So to prevent that from happening, what I do is I get a piece of transfer tape and stick that to my mat first, and then stick the faux leather onto the transfer tape, and that way all the excess glitter that gets off of the leather just sticks to this, not my mat. So I've cut a bit of transfer tape, peel it off the backing, and then stick it down so that the sticky side is facing up, because we're going to use that to stick the faux leather to. So I'm going to line this up along the 1 inch line. So that's where I set this up in Design Space. And then now that that is stuck to my mat, I can take my faux leather, turn it upside down and stick that to the transfer tape. So push it down to seal it nice and strong. And then to stop this peeling up, because the transfer tape isn't very strong. If you do have strong grip transfer tape, that would be best, but again, I don't, so I'm just using normal. So I'm going to take some masking tape. You could also use blue painter's tape or washi tape. And I'm going to go down each of the edges of the leather and just add some masking tape to make sure this won't move when it's being cut out. When you're doing things like hair bows, it is lots of little shapes to make up the final bow. So to make things quicker when you're cutting, you can cut all the different colours on one mat. To do that, go back in Design Space and just cancel out of the cut that you've already started, and then ungroup all of the layers and change each one to the same colour. It can be useful to make a note on a bit of paper or in a Word document or something about which shape you want to cut out of which colour of faux leather, just so that you don't forget. Now when you go to make it, all of the shapes are on the same mat, so you can just drag them to different places on the Cricut mat, and then when you put the faux leather on, you can just cut a piece to size for all of the different shapes and then stick that to your Cricut mat, just like this. And then when your Cricut cuts it, it will cut all the shapes out of the correct colours of faux leather. So that means you've managed to cut everything out with just one go with your Cricut machine. So go ahead and cut everything out, and then I'll show you how to stick your bow together. I've cut all the pieces out to make the pumpkin hair bow, so you can see them all here. And then I've got a crocodile clip, which I'll use as the back to my bow. So you can see on the ones I've already made, on the back you've got a nice clip on there. My glue gun is heating up here, and I'm just going to pull my sleeves up so I don't glue gun them. And let's have a think about how this will go together. So I'm going to start with the largest of the bow pieces, and how these work is you turn it over and then we're going to fold in the circles so they get folded in half. So I'm not pushing down to actually crease it, but just move it over so that the rectangle there meets the rectangle in the middle of the bow. And then we just need a little bit of glue gun in the middle. I think that's not quite hot enough yet. So just fold it over and push it into the glue. And that's half of that done. When that bit's dry, you can do the same again. So a bit more glue on there. This is not hot enough yet. And just fold the other side over and stick it in to the glue. Yeah, that's already looking like a bow. So I'm going to take the other bit, the pumpkins, and do the same thing. Just going to switch my glue gun up to a higher heat, see if that makes it go a little bit quicker. So again, just a little bit of glue in the middle. Fold over one side, stick it down. And you might just want to push it down until that glue's dried a little bit, but be careful not to burn your fingers. And then do the same on the other side. So just folding that and sticking the little tab on the end to the glue in the middle. Okay. So now I need to stick these two bow pieces together. So it doesn't really matter which way round you do it. You'll probably find that one side looks neater than the other. So even though the middles aren't neat, because it's where we've stuck it, my edges on this one are neater this side than they are this side, because this side I can see the white quite a lot, whereas this side you can't. So I'm going to keep it this side up. And for this one, again, it's kind of the same thing. It looks neater from this side. And we're going to cover the middles up, so don't worry that you've got the glue showing. We're going to cover all of that up with the little rectangle piece that we cut out. So all you need to do is just take the bigger bow and put a little bit of glue in the middle. And then take your smaller bow and just push it down to get it to stick. And I'm going to hold this for a little while to make sure it sticks really firmly. So when they're stuck together, you can take the little rectangle, and this is just going to fold around the bows like this to create a middle, and then we'll stick it with the glue gun onto the back. So let's put that into position. This is a little bit fiddly as it is quite small. I'm going to add some glue on the back. And then pull it round, pull it tight as well against the bow. So as tight as you can pull it, and then push down to seal. Again, be careful of your fingers. You see I've just managed to stick my nail on it, but it can be quite hot depending on your glue gun, so just be careful. I've got a little bit of thread coming out of that bow. Let's just trim that. Okay, so that is looking cute. Make sure I've got my pumpkins the correct way up. And now I can glue this piece onto the backing, so the pumpkin leaves. And again, all we need is our glue gun, a little dab in the middle, and then stick this down so that it's slap bang in the middle of these leaves. And again, push and hold for that glue to dry to make sure it's going to stick nicely. And now we've just got the little pumpkin left, which is going to go over the middle. So you can leave this off if you'd rather see the rectangle bit that we put on there, because that is quite pretty. But that was on there kind of as a fastening, so we can cover it up if we want to. So I've got this little pumpkin, put a bit of glue in the middle, and then place the pumpkin on there and just make sure it sticks. And that's the front of my bow done. So you can see all three of the designs look very similar and they go together in a similar way. So you create the first two bows in the middle first on the ghost, then stick them to the back bits, and then add the bit in the middle with some googly eyes. For the bats, I actually wrapped the rectangle bit all the way around all three layers on this one. But it's up to you, you could just do the first two, but as the middle bit of the back bit with the bats is quite thin, I wrapped it around everything. Alright, so just one step left, and that is to add the crocodile clip. So when all your glue is dry, turn it over, and then we're just going to stick this onto the back. So either this way round or this way round, it doesn't really matter. So I'll put a line of glue along the back and then just press the clip in. I'm just going to keep it pressed down because I don't want it to come apart from the glue before it's dry. So just wait a few seconds for that to dry, and then when that's all dry, that is your hair bow all done. So that came together fairly quickly, and now you've got this cute little collection of hair bows for Halloween. So don't forget, you can get the free SVGs for all three of these bows from my website. I'll put a link in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Halloween crafts. I'm doing a new craft project every day for the whole of October, so keep checking back as there'll be something new very soon. Thank you for watching.